Alright, so it's day 2. About to throw this baby in. Gonna do all the flywheel bolts right now. All brand new OEM. Tighten this, torque it down, put on the clutch, transmission, the helping hand from this guy here. No, he's not a Subi owner, he just vapes. So we got the engine off the stand and on this little wooden cart here. So yeah, once the transmission's mounted, we're gonna throw this motor finally into the chassis. Well, everything's on. Got my little tow strap here. Didn't feel like using a chain. So transmission's on, engine mount's on. So we're about to sit this baby in, and that's pretty much gonna conclude everything. So can't wait, man. We'll see. The clutch was a bitch. Excuse the mess. I was just over it. The dowel pins, some of them didn't even line up, or they had a hard time lining up. But yeah, so I did the fuel lines already, but what I did was disconnect it from here, zip tied everything against the firewall, so that way I have room to sit the motor in. So I did have some help, but they left temporarily. They should be back, but I'm gonna try to see what I can get done by myself. So hopefully it goes in smoothly and doesn't scratch any paint. So we'll see. Lo and behold, a few hours later after the clutch and everything, the motor's finally in. There's little tricks to it too. So a trick to the trade is make sure you bring the transmission downside first, then put the mount on, then bring it up. So what I did was I kept this part hoisted up here to keep it, to make it go up and down. And then I put the jack in between the engine hoist with the factory old automatic flex plate, and I jacked that up to angle the motor at the angle it's supposed to be. So the oil pan actually has an angle on there, so with the flex plate on it all the way down there, right there, that actually helped out a lot to help angle everything into place. So that's like a tip for you guys if you're ever doing a K for the first time. Alright, so the belt's on, K-tuned of course. And then we got the hybrid racing shifter bushings. And the fuel line's finally finished, complete and attached. So I'm pretty much practically done for the day. I ran out of sunlight. Special thanks to this man here for helping me out, Mr. Cannon. He's not related to Nick Cannon though. So yeah, here's the whole setup. As far as the valve cover, I'm going to be changing that one. I might order one, a new one, get it powder coated, etc, etc. But overall, this is the current setup. Excuse the mess. And there it is. Alright, so here's the hybrid shifter I'm having difficulty with. So right now, if you check it out, I have 3rd, 4th, 5th, and reverse. But in order for me to get first, see, you hear that click? Now I have 1st and 2nd, but now I don't have 3rd, 5th, or reverse. So it's in neutral. It's 4th, 2nd, and 1st. No 3rd, no 5th, or reverse. So now it's just stuck. And here's the adjustments. You have that one in the middle, that one in the middle. This one here I didn't even bother touching. So I'm thinking maybe something in here is messed up. So I don't know. So for me to even see, now that you hear the click from the trans, now I have 3rd, 4th, and 5th, reverse. But now here has something to do with maybe this part here, this rod, or the spring. Now I don't have 1st. See, you hear that crunch? Now I got it, and now there's no 3rd, 4th, 5th, or reverse. Alright, so what had happened was, you see this selector here? I actually had it flipped the other way, upside down, because when I took this bolt off to put on the hybrid springs, Like I pulled it off and this piece fell out. I remember now. So now that I flipped it this way versus the other way, because it still goes on either way. So now I was managed to do that. Now this bar here can actually shift forward and backwards, Before it was only going backwards. So hopefully I didn't fuck up anything in the transmission, but everything's going in, well, not going into gear, but pretty much what had occurred, it was when my shit was fucking up with the shifter, this wouldn't move forward at all. So now that I loosened this and then flipped it this way, now this mechanism here is able to go up and down, up and down. So I believe I solved the case. So now I gotta scrape off all this RTV and then start all over again pretty much. So we're back. So this throttle cable here, I got this from an EK CX-DX base model without the RPM gauge. That's like one of the easiest ways to tell. So I got this installed. This right here is the factory RSX throttle cable bracket. What I did was I grinded this here and I grinded this part, and then I got a crescent wrench and then I bent it. So that way the throttle cable is not all angled up this way up here. So I just cut it, modified it, bent it, and everything's routed through. I got this clutch line here from Valix Racing. I ran it on the other side of the transmission now, and everything's mounted back there. So that's what I've got done so far. So what I'm gonna do now is possibly bleed that. That's already been adjusted, so that's good to go. And then I do have the headers on. So I got the throttle cable and a Honda Accord exhaust manifold gasket. I got that from the junkyard too. It was like destined to be or something, because there was a Honda Accord motor just sitting outside of the car at the junkyard. So I ended up getting that gasket, sprayed some copper spray on there, which is that one. And then I also took the hardware too for the exhaust manifold gasket, because I didn't even have it. So all that's mounted up. Now I gotta do the back part of the header, and that's it. Route up some vacuum lines. I'm not doing the harness just yet because I am waiting for the valve cover to come in. His name is Charlie Mua. You look him up on K24. He makes some really good valve covers. Special order. Sometimes he has them in stock, sometimes he doesn't, but yeah. So this is a complete setup. Still work in progress, but I'm gonna get done as much as I can today. So we'll see what I do from there. All right, so got the axles on. These are the Insane Shaft 500. So I don't plan to push that much power, but should do the job. It's the engine, clutch is bled. It's the other side. This axle's in as well. Everything locked in place. Got my shifter to work properly. They all engage. My hands are dirty, so I don't want to touch the shifter. But all gears work. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, and reverse. Pretty fucking awesome. Can't wait